And number 2 is what I call from the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 18. And allow me to read. It says, she sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. Matthew 25, verse 16. The man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So what is the second stream of income? The second stream is what I call profit income. Now, what is profit income? Profit income is what you gain by buying and selling goods or services for a profit, such as running a business or doing something else that is bringing an income to you. When you were doing selling, you're doing this and you're doing that. That is called profit income. And the Bible is giving an example from Proverbs 31. Is what we normally term as noble woman of Proverbs 31. The Bible describes her and says that she sees her trading is profitable. She is a trader. She knows how to go out at night and during the day. Whatever hours, she's a hard worker. She sells goods and gets profits out of that. She does things, she embroiders or she does whatever, sells them and gets things. In other words, they are busy with activities that are bringing money to them. And then he says, Matthew chapter 25 is Jesus who was asking this man, how come I gave you talent and then you decided to go and hide it? Couldn't you at least go and do like this man who had 5 talents or 5 bags of gold, who went out and started doing business with them, and out of what he was doing, he got back a profit of the same amount of 5. In other words, he brought back a 100% increase in whatever that he was using to work with. That is called profit income. That is the second one. You know, is where you're not just an employee. You're not just relying on a salary somewhere. No, but you are able to wake up during your extra hours. You get things and you sell them. You get things and you do things, exchange, buy and sell, do things in a small scale or in a big scale. It does not matter whether it's online or whether it is physically or it is during events or during meetings or whatever it is. But you are making money somehow. You are making profit somehow. That is what is called profit income. Now it teaches that wise business practices and investment can multiply wealth. That's what it tells us. When you you become a wise person in as far as business is concerned, in as far as investing here and there is concerned, it ends up bringing wealth to you. Now understand, this is scriptural. So when we look at these 7 streams, we are not looking at things that are just being spoken of by somebody else. We are actually looking at things that are being practiced in scripture. Number 3, I said there are 7. Number 3 is what I call in Matthew 25 verse number 27. Let's read it together. It says, well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. In other words, number 3 is what I call interest income. Is another source or stream of income. Number 3, interest income is earned when you lend money to others or invest in saving accounts or bonds. In as much as we may be very careful concerning oppressive lending and some of these things that probably would be very tricky to get into, but listen to me, it is important to become wise with your financial resources. If you have not put them in the business where you are doing merchandise or what have you, make sure your money is not just resting somewhere making no money, because sometimes you may take money and just put it under your pillow. That money remains the same. If it's $100, it remains $100, but you can take the same $100 and push it into something else, maybe into bonds, into stocks, into whatever form of investments, or into savings which are making profits and interest. That money is bringing gain to you. In other words, what is is happening is that you are allowing that money to work for you. It is actually a principle of money working for you. Jesus was talking to this fellow and says, listen, why did you need to hide that one talent away? Why couldn't you at least, if nothing else, if you couldn't do business, why couldn't you at least just take it and put it somewhere in an investment program, in a savings bank, or in a place where it would still generate some money? How do you live with it and you don't make money out of that money? In other words, money should not stay without being multiplied. Money should not stay without bringing growth. Money should not stay without bringing it being increased. No, money should actually increase itself. Money should increase when it is in your hands. How do you do it? Either you make it work for you by doing some business in terms of profit income, or you make it work for you by doing some interest income where it is actually just bringing interest. Number 4 is what we find in Ecclesiastes chapter 11, and I read this previously in another one, where it says in Ecclesiastes 11 verse number 2, it says, invest in several ventures. Some translations will actually say 7 ventures or 8. That's what they may say. If you look at the different translation in that scripture, you'll find, when I was teaching previously, I was using Good News translation. But it says in verse number 2, invest in several ventures. Yes, even in 8. And you do not know what disaster may come upon the land. Okay, that's another story. So when we talk about that, we are talking about dividend income. Now, dividend income comes from owning shares from a company. It comes from you getting profits out of the company because of the shares you have bought within that company. So what scripture is actually saying is that you need to invest with different places. If there is a company which has its IPO on, or there is a company that you can be able to buy shares from, or whatever that is going on, go ahead and do so, because as you do so, what you're doing is that you're creating an opportunity for dividend income. Dividend income is what you get from that particular company because you have invested there, you have shares there. So as they are growing in their profit, they share their profit with their members, and since you are a shareholder there, what happens? You enjoy the benefits of what you have already gotten yourself involved in. So what am I saying? Dividend income is the 4th source of income, and this is something that you need to think about. Put shares, buy shares, buy shares, buy shares.